I'm David Haynes. I'm editorial page editor of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and we're here this morning with Congressman Ron Kind. Congressman, welcome.
I'm glad to be here.
We were talking earlier during an editorial board meeting about the concerns you have over the middle class. And I wondered if you could talk a bit about that and what you think the role of government might be in terms of ameliorating those concerns.
Yeah, David, I am concerned about the state of the middle class today. It seems as if people are having to run faster just to try to keep up, work harder hours, but a great concern about job security today too. What we found in the last 10 years is that wages for a typical family have at best been stagnant or declining, while everything else is going up, from healthcare expense, energy expenses, tuition, food prices, and it's harder then for the middle class to be the great consumer engine of our economy anymore. And therefore, I think we've got to be asking tough questions of what we can do that can help bolster and strengthen middle class families, so it's just a little bit easier for them to make ends meet, for their budgets to add up. And part of that is based on the wages that they're earning at the jobs where they're at and whether or not they're receiving fair compensation for the type of increase in worker productivity that we've seen in recent years.
And what role might the federal government play, in your opinion, in trying to promote either higher wages or more jobs, or what can the government do?
Well, you know, this isn't something completely new. We went through a similar period way back when, which actually gave rise to the establishment of the minimum wage, so that at least there was some floor on wages in this country and not just a race to the bottom. And whether or not we need to flush that out a little bit, I'm not sure. But certainly there is a growing disparity between educational levels that people achieve and the type of work placement that they get and the type of compensation they receive throughout their life. So I think concentrating on type of educational access, job training access, so there's a better matching of the skills in the workforce with the new jobs being created. Because one of the big challenges that we face today as an economy and as a country is 7 of the 10 fastest growing jobs that are being created today didn't exist 10 years ago. So how do we educate students today for jobs that haven't been created, oftentimes using technology that hasn't been invented yet? And that's kind of the unique challenge that we face in modernizing our economy and making sure that the good paying jobs are there for people.
Now, the President's American Jobs Act is seeks to address some of these concerns. What do you think about the President's proposal? Do you support it? What aspects of it do you think are most important?
You know, the President is once again trying to get a Jobs Act in place to try to stabilize the economic conditions and help create jobs here as we move forward. Some of the proposals are just drop-dead common sense. The investment we have to make in the infrastructure of our nation. We've got a 20th century infrastructure, roads, highways, bridges, ports, airports, things of that nature that is crumbling right now. So we've got to make an investment in that in order to sustain long-term economic growth. Why not do it now when we need the jobs? Because every $1 billion that's invested in the infrastructure will create roughly 10,000 jobs. And these are typically better paying jobs too, which will circulate in the local economy. You know, the payroll tax relief for employees means more money in their pockets to help make ends meet during these tough economic times, but also a reduction for the employer payroll tax to help with their cash flow. And this could especially be beneficial for small businesses that are struggling to stay alive.
Do you think that is an incentive to hire, though? I mean, isn't it a demand issue for most businesses?
It very much is a demand issue. And right now we're coming through a tough financial crisis. People are still rattled from that. They're paying down their debt. They're maybe saving a little bit more. We're not seeing a real bounce back of the consumer of this economy. And when they're 70% of economic activity, if they're not out purchasing, then businesses aren't selling as much. And if they're not selling, they're not going to be hiring. And that's the catch-22 that we find ourselves in. So what we need to do to try to restore consumer demand and confidence is really going to be the key to how quickly we can emerge from this economy that we're in right now.
Okay. Well, Congressman Kind, thanks so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Happy to do it.